Hi guys, welcome to part 4. Today I think what we're going to be doing is we're going to look at getting rid of some of these crankcase ventilation pipes, the coolant pipes. We'll probably remove the starter motor and we'll look at disconnecting some of these other wires and electrical connectors from the valve timing solenoids and things like that. And yeah, let's get started. Okay, so let's start by removing a few of these electrical connectors. We've got two here, one for each of the cam sensors, and I mean you're not going to be able to mix these up. You can see how the loom is like a Y shape, and there's no way you're going to be able to plug these onto the wrong one. We've then got these two connectors here, and these are for the solenoids that have the oil going through them that control the cam phases, I think. So we'll just remember that the lower one is the brown one and the upper one is the black one. So we'll get these few bits removed and see where we are. Yeah, so just another point with these electrical connectors, both of the tabs, the little tabs here, were missing off both of these connectors, and I think that was been done before I even got the car, so these must have been off at some point before. If the tabs are intact, just literally prising like this gently seems to be the best method that I found. Otherwise you're going to end up with something like this, more than likely. This one, luckily I managed to get away with it. This one, we're going to have to replace it, unfortunately. Let's remove this crankcase ventilation hose, and this end it's just a connector, a bit like we had at the top on the valve cover here, just where you can squeeze both tabs in on the side and pull away. So you just grab those two. There you can see how this is like the hose coming back on itself, so again, just a point of reference. So these little clips here just to hold it in. Shouldn't be too bad to remove. Right, that's the other end of that removed, so you can see that the part that went back on itself was connected to here, and then the other end, which is like a right angle, that goes onto this little box down here, which I'll show you in a bit. But the right angle side connects down here, and it just goes up through these two clips and onto that. Let's get some of these. Let's get these other coolant hoses out of the way as well. Start actually with this big one here and get this out of the way. So this is the hose we removed from the thermostat. It is connected under the car and we could quite easily remove it, but for now, as soon as it's not really getting in the way, I think what I'll do is I'm just going to pop it up behind there, and it can stay there. It's cleared from obstruction this side anyway, so we'll get this other hose off the thermostat here. So I was having a couple of problems here with my camera audio again, so I've just voiced over a couple of these parts. So nothing complicated going on here, just removing the coolant hose here from the thermostat housing. Got another plastic clip here, just retaining the hose to the side of the engine casing, cam casing. And then we can just get this hose folded up out of the way. There's no need to remove it from the firewall side, or not that I can see at this stage anyway. Right, okay, let's get the thermostat removed. First thing, there's a little electrical connector onto the thermostat housing. You won't be able to see it because of this part of the loom here, but connected also to that part of the loom so that we don't get mulled up, there's another connector here that's on a longer piece of cable. So this is a very short piece off the loom here, so yeah, let's get that off. Right, so the bolts on the thermostat housing look to be 5mm hex head, and as far as I can see there's only 4 of them at this point, but we'll get them out and then we'll see if it'll come away or if there's anything else that we need to remove first. So also freeze that little bracket up. And what I might actually do with that is just leave it attached to the loom. There's no mistake where it came from then. So just removing the thermostat housing from the block now, and as you can see we get a big leak of coolant straight out the side of the block, so something to definitely watch for. You want to have a bucket ready for that. I was a bit too late with it, but we managed to catch a little bit of it anyway. Yes, there's a couple of other little bits that I was just pointing out in this part. So there's 3 bolts that actually hold the thermostat on. You can see the holes for the 2 longer bolts, and then there's a hole for a shorter bolt there as well. And then the other thing was to remove the thermostat, it also has to pull out of a plastic hose that runs along the front of the block, and I'll show you that in a second. This part here, but that just literally pulls out. You don't need to turn it or anything that I can see. It's just a little bit awkward to wiggle it out of there. So I've just been weighing up this loom here and just trying to decide how to remove this. And I think what we're going to do is there's a Torx fastening here, and there's also this point that it seems to fasten on here, which looks like it's also an earth point as well. And we may as well keep all these wires if we can clipped to these brackets. And I think there's also looks like there's a little 8mm or 10mm bolt here, just down here on this bracket as well. So I think what we'll do is we'll remove those 3 bits. We'll take this hose clamp off this little coolant line here, and we'll see if we can peel this entire bracket away, and I'm hoping we can kind of stash it over here at the front of the engine, sort of out of harm's way, and it's going to be easier just to pop the thing back on in one go, but we'll see. As you can see, what happened for me here is the little stud that screws into the side of the block that holds the earth connection on, that actually came out as well, so I've just popped all the bits together there, and we'll put that to one side and label it. And in order to get the rest of this away, there's also another bracket lower down, and this was actually just a little bracket that held one of the coolant lines on. It's a 10mm bolt, so we'll remove that, and then we can actually just pop that bolt back into the side of the cam casing. Again, it's such a short little bolt that I don't see that that's going to be holding anything on. I think it's literally just for that bracket. And then yeah, we should be able to get this loom peeled away from the side of the engine now, and that's going to give us a lot more space to work with. We'll make a start on removing the starter motor. That doesn't look too bad. You've got sort of a big earth cable here going to it with a 13mm bolt here, and then it looks like this bracket that held the cable for this CCV device, this has got a 13mm nut on it here as well. So we'll get this out of the way. We'll get this connector off. We'll get these bolts out, and yeah, we'll see where we are. There's actually a 10mm nut on the back of this holding it in as well, so we'll have to get that out of there. I apologise for getting in the way of the camera, but there's limited places that I can put it to be able to work and still let you see as much as possible. Just showing the bracket here that held that PCV or CCV unit in place, and you can see that it was just the one small nut to remove from the back of the unit there. That was all that was holding that in place. Right, so there's a little electrical connector on the top here. You can just slide this red tab back on it, and then it should pull away. And then we've got another 13mm nut on here, it looks like. Might actually have to get a different socket, I think, for that. We will do. I'll go grab another socket. So the one that I'm removing now is the positive connection to the starter motor, and then we'll move on to the earth. One here, which has got probably the earth, I'm imagining. Just block it down here as well. Right, okay, so what it looks like we have is a 13mm nut that fastens onto the top of an 18mm bolt, and there's two of these, one on either side of the starter motor, so we're going to have to get those out. I imagine these are going to be fairly tight, so I'll start with the bottom one just because it's a little bit easy to access, and we'll try and get that off, and once we've done that we'll get this one off. Yeah, so not too bad. That's the one off the bottom, so we'll have a look and see if it's any different than the one at the top. But I feel this is going to be a fair bit tighter. And that's our other one. Yeah, they look the same. The only difference, and it may just be that because someone's had that off at some point even, is that the top one had a sort of a flanged nut on it, and the bottom one didn't. But yeah, I'm not sure whether that's relevant or not. And there we go, that's our starter motor. So the last little job we're doing is just going to be to remove these gear selector cables. So it's a couple of little clips on here you can just remove with a pair of pliers, and it says to replace these clips every time you remove these linkages, but I don't really see why, because they came off very easily, and I didn't damage them or anything bending them. So and then just going to remove the bracket that holds them to the gearbox as well, so we can lift them up out of the way. And yeah, it's just 3 13mm bolts here. We'll get those out, and those were all the same as well, so again there's no need to worry about mixing these up. You'll probably also notice that the hydraulic line to the gearbox is still attached, but we'll leave that for now, and we'll worry about that when we get to the stage of actually removing the gearbox itself. Right, so thanks for watching this part. I appreciate it doesn't look like a massive amount of progress with all the little fiddly bits that we've been doing, but I think now we're pretty much ready to start work on looking at getting the gearbox removed. There's probably going to be a little bit of a delay in the next sort of major updates to the videos, just because I'm probably going to be away for a week or so, and also we need to look at getting the beam fastened up above the car here to support the engine while we do remove the gearbox.